The alien market on Grell 9 was loud and full of strange smells. Traders shouted prices in different languages. Creatures from many planets moved through the dust. Some bought weapons, some traded slaves, and others just watched in the far corner. Of the market, behind a broken stall, sat a small alien girl. She was naked, cold, and shaking. Her skin was pale silver, and her hair was like thin white threads. Her big blue eyes stared at the ground. Afraid to meet anyone's gaze, her wrists were locked with old metal cuffs. She had no name tag, no price sign, no owner nearby. She was not even part of the market. She had been dumped there like trash. Some people walked past her. They looked at her once and then turned away. Too weak, too dirty, too small, not worth anything. An alien merchant walked by and kicked dirt at her. Useless thing, he muttered. She doesn't even cry. But the girl did not move. She just sat there, silent, as if waiting for the world to forget her. Then, from the other side of the market, a tall human man entered. His name was Yalan Cross. He wore a long coat, boots covered in red dust, and carried a scanner on his belt. Yulan had come to the market looking for spare parts. His ship needed repairs. And Grell 9 was the only place nearby. He hated this planet, but he had no choice as he walked past the stalls. Something made him stop. He turned his head slowly. His eyes locked on the little girl sitting in the dust. At first, he thought she was a statue, too still, too quiet. But then her fingers twitched. He walked closer. The girl looked up for just 1 second, and in that second, something passed between them. Not fear, not begging, just a question. A quiet, simple question in her eyes. Will you walk past me? 2. Yalan looked around. No guards, no sellers, no one claiming her. He knelt down in front of her. How long have you been here? He asked. She didn't answer. He reached into his bag and pulled out a small energy bar. Here, he said. She stared at it, then, very slowly, took it and ate with shaking hands. Other traders watched and laughed. Don't waste your food. One called out, She's broken. Yalan stood up and faced the voice. She's not broken. He said, She's alive. He turned back to the girl. I'm Yalan, he said. I'm not here to hurt you. The girl's lips moved. But her voice was so soft, he had to lean in. Kari. She whispered. Yalan blinked. Kari, he repeated. That's your name? She nodded, just once. He reached out carefully and touched the cuffs. They were rusted and old. With one quick motion, he used his laser tool to unlock them. The cuffs fell to the ground. Kari pulled her hands close to her chest. Confused? I'm taking you with me, Yalan said. You don't belong here. As he picked her up gently in his arms, a merchant ran over. Hey, you can't just take that thing, Key shouted. She's not for sale. Then she's free, Yalan said coldly, and I'm claiming her before someone worse does. You'll regret it, the merchant growled. She's cursed. Then? I'll take my chances, Yalan replied, walking away. He carried Kari through the market. Some people stared, some whispered, but no one stopped him. Back at his ship, he cleaned her wounds, gave her water, and wrapped her in a soft blanket. She said nothing, but she watched everything. He made a bed for her in the spare cabin. You can sleep here, he said. It's yours now. She sat on the bed, hugging the blanket. Yalan stood in the doorway, unsure what to say. You're safe now, he said. She looked at him, eyes shining in the dark. Then, in a quiet, trembling voice, she asked, Why did you save me? Yalan took a deep breath. He didn't know the answer himself. Maybe it was her eyes. Maybe it was something deeper, because no one else did. He said Kari stared at him for a long time. Then, for the first time, she smiled, just a little. And Yalan knew, in that moment, everything was about to change. The stars outside the window blinked like quiet eyes in the dark. Kari sat near the edge of the bed, wrapped in her blanket. Watching them, she didn't cry. Didn't speak, but her eyes said everything. Yolan sat in the cockpit, sipping bitter coffee and checking ship readings. His ship, the Skywarden, was old, but still strong. Like him, it had seen too many fights, too many bad days. He looked back. At the cabin, the girl Kari hadn't slept. She hadn't spoken again since asking why he saved her. Lex Yolan said, calling to the ship's AI, "Start a scan." "For what, Captain?" Lex replied in a calm voice, "Her biology," he said. "I don't want to scare her, but I need to know what I just brought on board." "Understood," Lex said. Beginning passive scan, a soft hum ran through the walls as the ship quietly studied Kari's body from a distance. Yolan stood and walked back to her room. He knocked softly on the wall. Kari looked up, still silent. "I brought you something," Yolan said, showing a small packet of food. "It's not fancy, but it's warm." She took it with both hands and opened it carefully. The steam made her eyes widen. She had not smelled hot food in a long time. She ate slowly, like someone expecting it to be taken away. "You're safe here," Yolan said again. "I don't know what happened to you, but no one's going to hurt you now." Kari looked down at her food, then at him. "You don't know me," she whispered. Yolan sat on the floor beside her bed. "No," he said, "but I know what it feels like to be thrown away." She tilted her head. "You too." Yolan nodded. "Not in a cage, not like that," he said, "but close." A soft beep came from the front of the ship. Yolan stood up. "I'll be right back," he said. In the cockpit, Lex displayed the scan results. Yolan leaned over and frowned. "What am I looking at?" He asked. "Her DNA is highly unique," Lex said. "She has energy markers I've never seen before." "Dangerous?" "Unknown." Yolan rubbed his forehead. "Great," he thought. "I rescue a girl with mystery powers." But something inside him didn't feel afraid. It felt protective. He returned to Kari's room and sat beside her again. "Kari," he said softly, "do you remember where you're from?" She looked at him carefully. "Yalara," she said. "It's a green moon." Yolan paused. "Yalara's gone," he said. "Destroyed 5 years ago." Kari looked down. "I know," she whispered. "I was taken before it happened." Taken. The word hit hard. "By who?" Yolan asked. "Men with silver helmets," she said. "They called me a battery." Yolan's hands curled into fists. He had heard stories. Black market labs using children with rare blood or energy, selling them as power sources, weapons, or worse, and the cuffs. He asked. "They locked my light," Kari said. "But the light is still inside." She opened her palm. A small, soft glow appeared. Not bright, not dangerous. Just gentle light, like a candle. Yolan watched in silence. Her skin shimmered. Like starlight, beautiful, strange, and nothing like any species he knew. "You're not just a girl," he said. "You're something special." Kari looked scared. "Special is bad," she whispered. "They chase special." "No," Yolan said. "Special is why you survived." Suddenly, a loud warning rang through the ship. "Proximity alert," Lex spoke urgently. 2 ships approaching fast. Yolan jumped to his feet. "Alliance." "No IDs, no signals," Lex replied. "Could be pirates." Kari stood behind him, holding her blanket tight. "They found me," she said softly. Yolan rushed to the cockpit. "Get the shields up," he said. "Charge the cannons." The ships outside moved closer. They were small but fast bounty hunters for sure. "This is Skywarden," Yolan said on open comms. "You're approaching a private ship." No answer. Instead, one of the ships fired a warning shot. It skimmed the wing, shaking the cabin. Kari screamed and fell to the floor. Yolan grabbed her and pulled her behind cover. "Stay down," he shouted. "I don't want to go back." She cried, "I don't want to disappear again." Yolan looked at her and saw fear, the same fear he had seen in war. He knew he couldn't let them take her. "Lex," he said, "give me targeting." Locked in, the AI replied. Yolan fired, blasting one of the ships with a heavy pulse. It spun out, damaged, but not down. The second ship returned fire, hitting the lower engine. Smoke filled the room. Yolan turned to Kari. "I need your help," he said. "Can you use your light?" She looked terrified. "But what if it hurts you?" "It won't," he said. "I trust you." Kari closed her eyes. She took a deep breath, then raised her glowing hands. A wave of soft blue energy spread across the ship. Suddenly, the enemy ship's systems crashed, its lights flickered, and it dropped from the sky. Yolan stared at her. "You did that." Kari fell to her knees, breathing hard. "I didn't mean to," she whispered. "I just wanted to protect you." Yolan knelt beside her and held her shoulders. "You saved us," he said. "Thank you." Kari looked up at him, eyes full of wonder. "You're not scared of me?" He smiled. "Kari," he said, "I've seen monsters. You're not one of them." The Sky Warden drifted in silence above a dead moon. Its engines were damaged from the last fight. Smoke filled one side of the hallway, and wires hung from the ceiling. Yolan worked quickly to repair the main systems. He had removed his jacket, and his arms were covered in grease and burns. His face was tired, but focused. He had been through worse, but not with a child on board. Kari sat nearby, her knees pulled to her chest. She was quiet, but her eyes stayed on Yolan as he worked. "I didn't mean to break the ship," she said softly. "I just wanted to stop them." "You didn't break it," Yolan said, still turning bolts and checking power cells. "They shot us, remember? But my light, it made everything go crazy," she whispered. Yolan paused and turned to her. "That light saved both our lives," he said. "If you hadn't used it, we'd be floating in space right now." Kari looked down at her hands. They were small, delicate, and still glowing a little. The blue color flickered like fireflies under her skin. "I didn't know I could do that," she said. "Well," Yolan smiled. "Looks like you're full of surprises." Later that night, they sat together in the control room. Yolan had managed to restart one engine. They were safe for now, hidden in the shadow of the moon. He handed Kari a warm drink made from nutrient packs. She took it with both hands and sipped slowly. "What do you remember about your powers?" he asked, "before the market." Kari thought for a moment. "When I was little, I could heal plants," she said. "My mother said the light was a gift." "Your mother," Yolan repeated. "Where is she now?" Kari's eyes darkened. "They took her," she whispered. "Before they took me," Yolan sat back in silence. He had heard stories like this before. Planets raided, families split, but hearing it from a child made it worse. "I'm sorry," he said. Kari nodded slowly. "Sometimes I hear her voice," she said. "When I sleep." Yolan looked at her glowing hands. "What else can the light do?" "I don't know," she answered. "I've never used it like that before, but when I get scared, it comes out." Yolan leaned forward. "Let's try something," he said. "No danger, just you and me." Kari looked nervous, but curious. "Okay," she said. He set a small metal ball on the floor. It was a tool he used for repairs. "Can you lift this without touching it?" he asked. Kari stared at it. She reached out her hand. Her fingers trembled, and a small light formed in her palm. The ball shook, then slowly rose into the air. It floated for 5 seconds, then dropped with a soft thud. Kari's eyes lit up. "I did it." Yolan clapped his hands. "Nice work, Kari," he said. "You're not just strong, you're in control." She smiled, a real smile, full of hope. It was the first time Yolan had seen her look like a child, not a prisoner, but outside. Something stirred in space. A long-range signal blinked on the scanner. Lex spoke up. "Captain, incoming data pulse detected." "From where?" Yolan asked, standing up. "Unknown origin," Lex replied. But the signal is searching for something or someone. Yalan turned to Kari. Could they be tracking your energy? Kari's smile faded. I didn't send anything. She said, not on purpose. Even small energy waves can be traced, Yalan said. If they're looking for you, we need to move fast. Kari stood, her hands glowing again. Do we run? Yalan looked out the window at the dead moon. No, he said. We find answers. He opened a secret drawer in the ship's floor. Inside was a small drive, marked with old Alliance symbols. What's that? Kari asked. An archive? He said, stolen records from labs and black market stations. Someone experimented on you. They might be in here. Yalan connected the drive to the screen. Files appeared. Hundreds of them. Kari sat beside him, watching the screen. With wide eyes, after searching for hours. They found a file labeled Project Emberlight. Yalan opened it. Inside were images of children like Kari. Same glowing skin, same pale eyes. There were test results. Power readings and horrifying notes. Subject 14 shows potential to reshape molecular fields. Subject 15 terminated after energy spike destroyed lab. Kari gasped. That's me, she said, pointing at one picture. I was number 14. Yalan clenched his fists. These people didn't help you, he said. They used you. I thought I was broken, Kari whispered. I thought I was bad. You're not, Yalan said firmly. You were hurt. A final part of the file listed the location of the lab, shut down and abandoned. But the records showed something else. One last name, marked escaped. Subject 13. Status. Unknown. Kari leaned forward. 13, she said. That was my mother. Lon stared at the screen. She might still be alive. Kari's eyes filled with light. Can we find her? Yul nodded. We'll try, he said. But it won't be easy. I don't care, she said. I need to know, outside the ship. The stars seemed to glow brighter, and inside, so did Kari. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about family, and finding the truth. The Sky Warden left the dead moon quietly. Its engines hummed low, repaired just enough for travel. Inside the ship, Kari sat beside Yalan in the cockpit. Her hands still glowed faintly, but her eyes were full of hope. Are we going to the lab now? She asked. Yalan nodded. Yes, he said. It's far and deep in outlaw space. Kari looked through the window at the stars. I want to know if my mother is really alive. We'll find out, Yalan said. But we have to be careful. He tapped on the controls and opened the ship's nav screen. Coordinates showed a path through dangerous territory. Pirate zones, asteroid fields, and old war routes. Yalan sighed. It's going to be a rough ride. Kari turned to him and asked, Why are you helping me so much? Yalan didn't answer right away. He looked ahead at the dark space. Because someone helped me once, he said, and I didn't forget. Kari smiled. I won't forget either. But far behind them, someone was watching, in the shadows of a broken space station, a black ship powered up inside. A bounty hunter named Merrick read the signal logs. Target confirmed, he said. She's active again. His eyes were cold, and a long scar ran down his cheek. He sent a message to his crew. Prepare the net, he said. We bring her in alive. Back on the Sky Warden, Kari was learning. Yalan taught her how to fly the ship, how to read human symbols, and how to fix small wires. You're a fast learner, he said. Kari giggled. You're a good teacher. In the evening, they shared food in the common room. Kari asked questions about Earth, about oceans and snow. Yalan told stories, and Kari listened like every word was treasure. But that night, something strange happened. Kari woke up in the middle of her sleep, gasping. Her hands were glowing bright. Too bright. Yalan rushed into her room. What's wrong? He asked. I had a dream, she said. A dark ship with red lights was chasing us. Scan for any ships. Lex, scan for any ships behind us, Scanning, the AI replied. Then, after a pause, one ship, long range, not. Broadcasting, Yalan cursed under his breath. They found us. Kari stood up, scared. What do we do? We don't wait, he said. We run. The ship jumped to faster speed, engines glowing hot. But the black ship followed, slowly closing the gap. Merrick sat inside his dark control room. Smiling, they always run, he said. But they never win. Yalan changed direction, flying through a field of ice shards. The ship shook. And Kari held onto her seat. You okay? He asked. Kari nodded. I'm ready. Good, Yalan said, because we're not done yet. He flew into a narrow tunnel between floating rocks. Lasers from the black ship fired. Missing by inches. Lex. Prepare countermeasures, Yalan ordered. Ready? The AI said. Yalan dropped metal flares behind the ship, confusing the enemy's sensors. For a moment, the black ship slowed. Nice move, Akiri said, smiling. But then alarms rang again. Another ship just appeared. Lex said, same design, same target. They're not alone. Yalan whispered, they want her badly. The ships attacked together, surrounding the Skywarden. Kari stood up. I can help, she said. Yalan looked at her, worried. No. You've done enough. I can do more, she said. Her voice strong. They're not taking me again. Yalan hesitated, then nodded. Okay, but stay near me. Kari walked to the center of the ship where the power core hummed. She placed her hands on the floor and closed her eyes. A bright light filled the room. Soft, blue, and steady. It reached through the walls, into the circuits, into the engines. The ship moved faster, dodging shots with new speed, power levels. Rising, Lex said, surprised. We're going beyond limits. Kari opened her eyes, glowing like twin stars. I can feel the ship, she said. It listens to me. Yalan used the new energy to turn the ship sharply. He flew beneath one enemy ship and fired a blast directly at its engines. The ship exploded in fire. One down, he said. But the second ship launched a net bomb. It hit the side of the Skywarden, trapping it in energy threads. Yalan cursed. We're stuck. Kari walked forward, her hands glowing again. She placed her palm against the net. It started to crackle, then melt. She stepped outside onto the loading ramp, surrounded by space. The enemy ship opened a channel. This is Marek, the voice said. Stand down, girl. You are property of the Crimson Labs. I belong to no one, Kari replied. Her voice echoed in the dark. Then she lifted her hand and sent a wave of light at the ship. Its power core overloaded and shut down. The ship froze in space. Powerless, Yalan rushed to her side. Kari, he said. You okay? She turned and smiled. Yes, she said. I think I am. Yalan looked at the two destroyed ships. They won't stop coming, he said. We need answers. Kari nodded. We go to the lab. As the ship continued its journey, the stars seemed brighter than before. Kari stood taller now. Not just a child, not just a survivor. She was becoming something more. The stars were quiet again after the battle. The Skywarden floated through space like a tired bird. Its wings were burnt, but still strong. Inside the ship, Kari rested, her breathing calm, her hands no longer glowing. Yalan stood near the engine room, fixing wires. He wiped sweat from his face and looked toward Kari's room. He didn't say it out loud, but she had saved them again. She was no longer just a passenger. She was part of the crew, part of his life, that night. Yalan brought 2 cups of warm drink to the dining room. Kari joined him, still a little tired. She took the cup and smiled. You keep saving me, Yalan said with a half smile. Kari shook her head. No, this time I saved us both. They both laughed softly. It was a rare moment of peace. Yalan leaned back and said, You remind me of someone. Who? Kari asked. My daughter. He said she died years ago in a mining accident. Kari lowered her eyes. I'm sorry, she whispered. Elan nodded. She was kind, curious, just like you. She wanted to fly ships one day, maybe. She would have been like me, Kari said. Maybe, Yalan replied. But I think you're something even more. Kari didn't know what to say. So she just sipped her drink and looked at him with quiet eyes. Later, Kari found a small room filled with old photos and gear. She touched a picture of a little girl with dark hair, holding a toy ship. Your daughter. She asked when Yalan found her there. Yes, he said. Her name was Elia. Kari turned to him and said softly, Can I call you something? Yalan looked confused. Like what? She took a breath. Can I call you Dad? He froze, his eyes blinked fast, and he felt something heavy in his chest. He nodded slowly. If you want to, he said. I'd like that. Kari smiled and hugged him tightly for a long moment. They didn't say anything. There were no words needed, but peace didn't last forever. A signal flashed on the main screen. It came from the direction of the old lab. Lex spoke. Coordinates locked. Lab is active again. Someone restarted it? Yalan asked. Looks like it. The AI replied. Yalan turned to Kari. We're close now. Kari stood beside him, her hands slightly glowing. Let's finish it, she said. They reached the planet within a day. It was covered in gray mountains and red clouds. The lab was hidden inside a deep canyon, guarded by defense drones. Yalan flew low and fast, dodging shots. Kari helped by sending small waves of energy to confuse the machines. They landed the ship near an old tunnel. Yalan grabbed his blaster. Kari carried nothing. But her eyes burned like blue fire inside the lab. Everything smelled of smoke and metal. Lights flickered on broken walls. Kari stopped suddenly. I've been here before, she said. This is where they tested me. Yalan nodded. Stay close. They moved deeper, finding rooms full of broken machines. In one room, Kari touched the wall and whispered, Mother was here. They followed the path until they reached a sealed door. Yalan hacked the lock. Inside, a woman lay in a glass chamber, sleeping. Subject 13. The label said. Kari ran to her. Mom. She cried. The woman slowly opened her eyes. She looked at Kari and smiled weakly. You survived, she whispered. My little star. Yalan stood back, giving them space. The mother reached out and touched Kari's face. You've grown strong, she said. Kari cried and hugged her mother. I missed you so much, but the moment didn't last. Alarms rang again. Merrick had returned, and this time he brought more hunters. Yalan grabbed his blaster. We need to move. Now, Kari's mother stood up slowly. I can help, she said. Her hands also glowed, stronger than Kari's. Together, mother and daughter faced the enemy. Yalan covered them from behind, shooting down drones. Kari and her mother held hands, and their light grew brighter. A wave of energy exploded from them. The wall shook, and enemies fell back. Blind from the light, Merrick stood in the smoke, angry and hurt. You were mine. He shouted, You belong to the labs. Kari stepped forward. I belong to no one, she said. She sent a beam of light straight at him. Merrick flew backward and crashed into the wall. The fight was over. Yalan, Kari, and her mother walked out of the burning lab. Behind them, everything crumbled back on the ship. Kari sat between her mother and Yalan. She held both their hands. You're both my family now, she said. Yalan looked at her with pride. You've come a long way, kid, he said. Kari smiled. And we're just getting started. Outside, the planet burned, but in the Sky Warden, a new family was born, not by blood, but by choice, and that was stronger than anything. The Sky Warden flew away from the burning lab. Smoke and fire still lit the skies behind them. Yalin sat in the pilot's seat, watching the stars ahead. Kari and her mother, Lyra, sat quietly in the cabin for the first time. They were together, safe, but tired. They had escaped the hunters, destroyed the lab, and found each other, but something still felt heavy in the air. Yalin checked the ship's system. "Engine stable, shields at half power," he said. "We'll reach neutral space in a few hours." Kari walked into the cockpit and sat beside him. Her face was calm, but her eyes were full of questions. "Yalin," she said, "are we going to keep running forever?" He looked at her, then looked away. "Maybe," he said. "Or maybe we find a place where they can't reach us. Do places like that even exist?" She asked. Yalin didn't answer. He wasn't sure himself, back in the cabin. Lyra placed her hand over her chest. She could feel the energy inside her, brighter than before. The lab had tried to break her, but it had only made her stronger. She walked into the control room and said, "We have to make a decision." Yalin turned his chair. "What kind of decision?" "We can run and hide," she said. "Or we can end this." Kari looked at her mother, surprised. "Ended how?" "There's one more lab," Lyra explained. "The first one, where all this began, if we destroy it. The research ends." Yalin rubbed his forehead. "That place will be well protected." "I know," Lyra said, "but it's the source, Kari. Look down. I don't want any more children to be locked up like I was," she said. "I want it to stop." Yalin stood up slowly. "You're both serious about this?" Kari nodded. Lyra nodded too. "Then we do it together," Yalin said. "We end this." They set course for the original lab, located on a hidden moon called Delvar 7. According to Lyra, this lab was different. It didn't just test, it created. It was the heart of the program that took children like her and Kari as they flew through the cold parts of space. Kari trained with her mother. Lyra taught her how to focus her light, how to move energy without fear. Yalin watched from a distance. Always nearby, always ready. "Your power isn't just light," Lyra told Kari. "It's memory, feeling, life." Kari raised her hand and created a glowing orb. It floated between them like a soft star. Lyra smiled. "You're ready?" When they reached Delvar 7, the planet looked empty. No cities, no life, just rock and mist. But underground, machines waited. The lab was deep below the surface. Alone landed the ship near a mountain cave. From there, they went on foot. Kari led the way, her hands glowing. Just enough to light the dark path. Lyra followed with sharp eyes. Yalin held his blaster, scanning every shadow. When they reached the gate, Kari touched the stone wall. "It's here," she whispered. Behind this, Lyra and Kari joined hands together. They released a wave of light that broke the stone apart. Behind it, metal doors opened and alarms screamed inside. Guards rushed forward, but Yalin moved fast. He fired warning shots. Taking them down without killing, the three of them entered the heart of the lab. In the center was a tall machine glowing red. It was feeding off energy, pure, stolen energy from other children. Kari stepped forward. "I feel them," she said. "They're trapped in here." Lyra touched the machine. "We can free them." The lights around them turned red. A voice spoke through the speakers. "You should not have come here." Yalin aimed his blaster. Too late now. Robots dropped from the ceiling, weapons armed. Kari raised her hands. But before she could attack, Lyra stepped forward. "I'll hold them," she said. "You two go to the core." "No," Kari shouted. "I won't leave you." "You must," Lyra said gently. "This is your fight now." Kari hesitated, then nodded. She turned and ran with Yalin toward the core. Behind them, the room lit up with flashes as Lyra battled the machines. At the core, Kari stopped. The walls were alive with wires and red light. She could feel the trapped voices. They were scared, weak, waiting. Yalin looked at her. "What do we do?" Kari closed her eyes and stepped into the center of the room. She opened her heart to the voices. "I'm here," she whispered. "You are free." Her body glowed bright, brighter than ever before. The red light around them cracked and faded. The machine stopped and the air became still. The trapped energy flew out like stardust. It touched the walls, the floors, and then faded into peace. Kari dropped to her knees, breathing hard. Yolan caught her. "You did it," he said. "You really did it." They ran back to Lyra, who was on the floor, tired but alive. Kari hugged her tightly. "It's over," she said. "We're free." The lab began to shake without the energy core. The building was falling apart. They escaped through the cave, dust and fire behind them. Back on the Skywarden, Yulan took one last look at the burning moon. He closed the ship's hatch and turned to Kari. "You changed everything," he said. Kari smiled. "No," she said. "We changed everything." Lyra joined them. Holding Kari's hand, they were not just survivors. They were family. The stars outside were calm. The fire of Delvar 7 had faded behind them. The lab was gone, its power broken, its evil finished. Yolan sat in the pilot seat of the Skywarden. His hands rested on the controls, but he wasn't flying. They were drifting, just for a little while. Kari stood beside him, her eyes on the stars. Lyra sat across from them, smiling softly. They were quiet, but it was a peaceful silence. No alarms, no enemies, no fear. Only stillness. So Kari said at last, "Where do we go now?" Yolan looked at her. "Where do you want to go?" Kari thought for a moment. "I've never had a home," she said. "Just cages and ships and dark rooms." Lyra reached for her hand. "We can build one," she said. Yolan nodded. "There are places far from the core," he said. "Places where no one asks questions." Kari smiled. "Then let's find it." They searched the maps together, looking at small planets, green moons, old stations. They found one called Everlyn, a small blue world with forests, lakes, and quiet skies. "No cities," Yolan said. "No armies, no labs." "Perfect," Kari whispered. It took them 3 days to reach Everlyn. They flew low over its mountains and landed near a wide open valley. The sky was clear, and the wind smelled like flowers. Kari stepped out first, her boots touching real grass for the first time. She bent down and touched the soil. "It's warm," she said, surprised. Lyra walked out behind her. "It's alive," she said. "That's how it should be." Yolan came out last, his blaster still at his side. Old habits were hard to break, but even he felt something soft in the air. They started building a small home near a river. It wasn't much, just a simple house made from wood and metal scraps from the ship, but it was theirs. Kari learned how to fish. Yolan showed her how to build tools. Lyra taught her how to grow food with her light. Every day was quiet, but full of purpose. They planted seeds, fixed solar panels, told stories under the stars. They were no longer running. One night Kari sat near the river, her feet in the water. She looked at the sky, then at her reflection. Yolan joined her, sitting beside her in silence. "You've changed a lot," he said. Kari nodded. "I don't feel afraid anymore," she said. "Sometimes I still have dreams, but I know they're not real." Yolan looked at her. "You're not just strong, Kari," he said. "You're brave." She looked up at him. "I'm glad I met you," she said. Back in the market, he smiled and looked away. "You were the best thing I ever found there." Behind them, Lyra called from the house. "Dinner's ready." They walked back together, hand in hand, around the small table. They shared food, laughed, remembered, planned. Lyra looked at them and said, "We made it." Kari looked at both of them. "I never thought I'd be happy." She said, "But I am." Yolan nodded. "Because we're home." They spent many days like that, and sometimes Other travelers came to the planet. Lost people, broken people. Kari always greeted them with a warm smile. One day, a small ship landed in the valley. A family stepped out, a father, a mother, and a child. They had escaped a war, looking for peace. Kari invited them in, gave them food, showed them where to build a home. The valley slowly grew. Not into a city, but a community. Everyone who came had a story, and Kari listened to them all. She became known as the Light Girl, the one who healed, who guided, who never turned anyone away. Yalin stayed by her side, always watching, always protecting. Lyra became a teacher, showing others how to grow and survive. Years passed, and one day, Kari stood at the edge of the river again. She was taller now, stronger, but still gentle. She looked up at the stars and whispered, "Thank you. Thank you to the human who found her when she was nothing, to the mother who never stopped loving her, to the stars that gave her light." She had once been left naked and unwanted in a cold market, but now she was a leader, a daughter, a protector, not by force, but by choice.